All right, guys. Today on the show, I've actually got someone by the name of Ben Dwyer. He's on the show today to talk a little bit about his business, Cardfellow.com. It's basically a business that allows you to find good rates on, credit card processing fees. If you run a business, you're looking to reduce your rates on credit card charges. Ben's going to basically show us how to do that with his website and how to find good deals. I thought this would be really interesting to have Ben on the show because it's a little bit different niche than a lot of the other folks I've had on, and just to kind of hear how this all came about. So welcome, Ben.
Hey, how you doing, John?
Good. So
Yeah,
do you kind of want to share your story, talk a little bit about how this all came to be?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. It actually started kind of out of the blue for me. I was actually working for a credit card processor going all the way back to about 2003, and being on the sales floor of a processor and really talking to a lot of businesses, it seemed like there was a lot of holes in what I was selling. There's a lot of information in the industry, and it seems like there's four different answers to every question. So, as I was working in the industry, I really started to investigate what I was selling and how processing really worked. And the more I learned about credit card processing, the more I realized that it could be done a lot better. So I actually started publishing a blog, just an informational blog on the topic of credit card processing.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't really meant to be a business at the time. I wanted to get the right information out there to help people really understand processing and the components of cost and how it worked and so forth to help people find a really competitive processor. And the blog actually turned into people contacting me. The first person contacted me actually via the domain registrar because I didn't even have any contact information on my blog.
Oh, wow.
So a business contacted me. They said, hey, if you wrote this stuff, we'd like you to help us find a processor. And it kind of grew from there. I had more and more people asking me, help us find a processor. And that's when I got the idea really for what were the start to Cardfellow, where I could leverage technology, leverage the internet to really make this process more efficient, to help processors and businesses connect with truly competitive pricing and accounts and terms and so forth. So the blog grew into a platform that was the start of Cardfellow back in about 2006, 2008. And even as recently as 2 years ago, a year ago, we really made some major updates to the platform, and really we make updates, almost weekly or monthly now to really get things more efficient. So that's where it came from. We're learning as we go, obviously. For example, one of the most important things we did with Cardfellow is, somewhat ironically, we lock credit card processors into a contract. So if a processor wants to compete in Cardfellow's marketplace, that processor has to sign an agreement where we can dictate the terms and the pricing models that processors use to ensure that anyone that signs up at Cardfellow doesn't have to know the questions to ask to get the most competitive offers. We simply eliminate the pitfalls before they even become a problem.
Right. Yeah, that's really obviously really beneficial for anyone that's going to be signing up as a business.
So, and here I am.
Yeah. So now, how many? I know. Obviously, I spoke with your, I'm assuming, colleague Julian. How many employees do you have now? That obviously you started this by yourself. How many people are running this?
It's 2 full-time employees for Cardfellow right now.
Okay.
The cool thing about the business model is Cardfellow leverages really exceptional processors. So every processor that competes in our marketplace has a dedicated representative just to handle the Cardfellow referrals. So we have a contact at each processor we deal with, and really it's our job to act as a consultant for our visitors. So like if you sign up at Cardfellow, you'll get your quotes, and we're always here to be that kind of third-party neutral advisor
Mm-hmm.
Once you want to go forward with a processor, you would choose that processor's offer, and that processor's representative then actually takes over, helping to get the account set up, helping to do the paperwork. They also remain for service in addition to Cardfellow.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you count all of the various processor representatives that are also participating in Cardfellow, Cardfellow has 2 full-time employees itself, and another 24 through each of the processors. So it's kind of a cool working relationship, I guess, Cardfellow maintains with the processors in its marketplace.
Right. So you're more speaking in terms of like kind of the partnership you have with these other processors.
Yeah, exactly, and that's really what it is. We have high standards. If a processor is subpar, they get the boot from our marketplace pretty quickly. It's happened before.
Yeah.
So the companies that are here that have been successful over time in Cardfellow are the ones that stick around, and they're the representatives that we know are going to be that are going to provide good service, honest, accurate service, and so forth. So at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is anybody that finds a processor through Cardfellow, our name is still attached to it. So we have to make sure that the processors in our marketplace are going to perform. So all of those representatives that we have on board today they're excellent.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I wanted to ask a little bit about kind of like that relationship you were able to, obviously you had to build a relationship with these other processors. Like, were there any challenges kind of reaching out to them, starting out, and being able to say, well, this is what we're doing. We want to be able to, help your business. Like, was it easy for them to kind of come on, or did that take a lot of work?
That's a great question. It was. That was one of the biggest hurdles in getting Cardfellow going. The agreement that processors are expected to sign or have to sign before they can compete really take their margins down to nothing. The pricing, the terms, all of the stuff that businesses simply receive instantly when they sign up at Cardfellow are really all of the things that allow processors to make money. So when a processor approaches Cardfellow, we present this agreement and they say, this isn't worth it. We're going to put all this time in and we're not going to be able to make any money. And Cardfellow's business model, once a processor understands it, they're very happy about it. But the difference with Cardfellow's business model and the way the credit card processing industry functions on the whole typically now is Cardfellow's goal is to get our clients the lowest possible pricing with the best possible terms right from the get-go, and then to ensure they know exactly what they have. We want them to know just how competitive the pricing is. We want them to know how this industry really works so that they can see they're paying fractions of a penny on the dollar. Because once we get that understanding in place and that pricing in place, our clients never leave. So, Cardfellow makes a commission from processors, a very small commission is how we make money. So we make very little money on everybody that signs up through Cardfellow. So we need to make it for a lot longer. So really it's a win-win. We want people to sign up. We want to get them the absolute lowest pricing. And then we make sure that they stay happy, that they receive good support so that they never really leave.
Right.
Cardfellow, going back to 2006, we actually have a 95% retention rate right now. So. Wow. The model's working right, we're keeping people happy, we're keeping the prices where they're supposed to be, but when a processor is initially considering coming into Cardfellow, it's tough to imagine that benefit all the way down the road. It's tough for us to say, hey, take our word for it, it's going to materialize.
Yeah.
So, some processors have said we're not interested, and some have kind of taken that leap of faith. And there's actually one very large company in Cardfellow that is a perfect example. This company came on board with one eyebrow raised, really not thinking it was going to work. And today their representative says, you're right, we love it. All the business we get through Cardfellow, you guys educate businesses, they know exactly how this stuff works, and they stick around. So it's a win-win, really. The people that come through Cardfellow pay as little as possible for processing. Sure, processors don't make a lot, but they make it for a lot longer. So overcoming that hurdle with processors to say, hey, look, it's not how you're used to doing things, but it's going to work over time, is the biggest hurdle in getting processors on board. And quite frankly, the ones that don't understand that aren't the companies we want to work with anyway.
Right.
The ones that have our same mentality are the ones that are going to perform best, and those are the ones we want. So.
So I wanted to ask. I'm just like thinking up all these different questions I could ask based on what we're talking about. But I wanted to kind of ask, like, I was curious about how it's beneficial for you guys in terms of like a business model. Like, where is do you guys make profits based on the fact of you get a lead and then they decide to sign up with the processor and then they're using that processor? Is that how you guys are able to generate revenue through like a contract with the processor?
Yeah. The way Cardfellow makes money, it's a completely free service for businesses. So a business never pays Cardfellow anything. Cardfellow offers support before, during, after, and for as long as a business is processing, right? So, like, let's say, John, you go to Cardfellow today, you sign up, you choose a processor. Cardfellow remains for support. So if you ever had an issue with the processor, you could call us. We would help you deal with the processor to make sure things are straightened out quickly. Even beyond that, we're proactive with our support. So we actually send out emails every 6 months. Every one of our clients gets a reminder where we need to audit their statements. So they'll get an email reminder. They can click on a little link. They can upload their statements, fax them to us, however they want to do it. And we audit their statements to ensure that their processor's pricing never increases. We look at something called interchange optimization to make sure that the business is paying the lowest possible rates at cost. Mm-hmm. And we post that audit right to their account. So we earn our keep, so to speak, with the way we make money. We kind of stick around. But that's exactly what will happen. We have an agreement. We have a contract with every processor in our marketplace that dictates, among other things such as the pricing model and the terms they have to use, how Cardfellow keeps the lights on in the office. And how that happens is processors pay Cardfellow a very small commission. The commission that we receive is the same for every single processor. So it doesn't matter to us when a business signs up. They could get 6 different quotes. As far as we're concerned, it's all the same to us. All processors are bound by the same exact terms in our marketplace. They're held to the same standards, and we make the same amount of money. So it's not much. It really is a volume model. So, but it's working out. Like I said, it's a win-win for the businesses. The businesses get the lowest possible pricing. We don't make a lot, but we make it for a lot longer.
Right. Now, how have you, I know you mentioned like when you started you were able to blog, and that was kind of a way that you had people reaching out to you through the blog. How have you kind of gone about marketing Cardfellow as of today?
Well, Cardfellow really grew from a true organic sense. What's really encouraging about the service is, still to this day, one of our best, I guess you'd call it, marketing channels is word of mouth or referrals.
Right.
It's funny, I probably hear the "it's too good to be true" statement from 4 people a day, and the ones that really do go through Cardfellow, sign up, choose a processor, are the ones that refer 4 or 5 of their friends. So we do get a lot of business through referral, through word of mouth, through our existing client base.
Yep.
Content marketing is really big for us. I'm a huge advocate of posting really quality, accurate content online. If you go to Cardfellow's blog, there's more information on Cardfellow's blog about credit card processing than, dare I say, most other places as far as density and accuracy and so forth. So the content marketing really brings in a lot of people for us, and it also gets the message across. Our goal really is to help businesses find competitive processing, and our content doesn't hide that. We really put out complete information about here's how you find the best credit card processor. You could take that information, use it with the quotes you receive through Cardfellow, and makes it really easy to lower your business's costs as far as that's concerned. We're also looking at, we do trade shows, so business trade shows, a lot of B2B stuff. It's always, in this industry, it's always trial and error. The processors that we essentially compete with have a couple more commas in their marketing budget than Cardfellow, so we have to be a little more savvy.
Yeah.
So it changes a lot. Some things work really good and work really well, and some things we drop the first time we do it.
Yeah, I mean, I just figure, I know in this type of industry, if you were to go looking around, I've never particularly done research myself, but I know, in terms of like the credit card niche in general, it's pretty competitive with some of these kinds of things. So I would think even like, do you notice that you're getting like a lot of organic traffic through the blog?
We do get a lot of organic traffic through the blog. That's with the organic traffic is really the only place where we can level the playing field. At this point, Cardfellow is not going to win going up against the pocketbooks of a lot of processors. So, yeah. The Google AdWords and that kind of thing in this industry doesn't really work because the cost per clicks are so high.
Right.
We also, with Cardfellow, we don't make as much money as the processors because the pricing and the margins are so slim. We can't go up against the processor going dollar for dollar when they're making 40 times as much on every conversion than we are.
Right.
So we've got to be a lot more savvy and a lot more organic with the marketing channels that we use.
Yeah, I know. I particularly haven't done a lot with AdWords myself, but I know from just kind of being in the online space the last year, it's sort of like what I've noticed is it tends to be a lot higher price than some of the other places you might be able to advertise or get your brand out there.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've used it in other businesses in years past, but AdWords is great because it's it's very easy to measure conversions and follow metrics and everything else.
Right.
It's just in terms of this specific industry for credit card processing, you're talking cost per click upwards of $20. So, when you start getting a few thousand of those a day, it can really start adding up, especially if you're not making the conversions or if you don't have the revenue coming through on the back end.
Right. Yeah, you'd almost probably be better off to spend that money trying to rank your content on Google and get people to come through organically versus paid.
Yeah. I mean, a big thing we like to focus on as well is the biggest barrier that Cardfellow has isn't the product or the service.
Mm-hmm.
A business that signs up at Cardfellow truly will receive 6 of the most competitive offers it's ever going to find for credit card processing. The problem is this industry has so much information and the rates and the fees are so confusing, it's not easy to see that. So, we see businesses sign up, they get what we know is absolutely phenomenal pricing, and then they never choose anything because they don't realize or they don't recognize just how competitive that pricing is. So what we're trying to focus on is really educating people with our marketing as well. So it's not just hey, you could reduce your credit card processing fees. You could reduce your fees, but here's why. Here's what to look for. So kind of the educational channels, that's like why the content marketing is really good. Works really well because not only does it give people an idea of what Cardfellow is, why Cardfellow would be beneficial for their business, but it gives people kind of an overview of here's how credit card processing works, here's what you need to know, here's what to look for, so that when they do sign up, they get their quotes, they're a lot more equipped to realize or to recognize really what they have or what they've received.
Right. I know you had me kind of go through and do the sign-up process just to kind of get an idea of like how the system works, and a lot of these numbers, I mean, I didn't, to me, I wasn't even thinking before. I've kind of gone along all these years not really thinking about the idea of like the credit cards taking your money when you're using them as a business. I didn't really, it's like you don't really think about all these hidden fees, although I've never run a business before. Everywhere is accepting credit cards. That's just a pretty typical model. So I'm sure you've got this is going to be something that's going to interest a lot of people that are running a business.
Yeah, the expense associated with credit cards is, I mean, I'm a huge advocate of lowering those processing fees. I mean, the expense associated with accepting credit cards is usually third in line for a business, right behind payroll and rent or lease expense. With businesses that don't have a competitive processing solution, which is most businesses out there, quite frankly,
Yeah.
they're going to be paying anywhere from 2.5% to 3% on gross sales just to process those credit cards. So if you think about 2.5% or 3% going out the door every month, that's really a huge expense. And there's a lot associated with reducing that expense and kind of compartmentalizing the expense and attacking it, which is what Cardfellow helps businesses do. The number one mistake that businesses tend to make when they shop for processors is they set out and they shop for credit card processors based on rates. We hear it every day. People ask, well, what's your rate? What's your rate? And really the rate a processor charges is a far second in importance to the pricing model and the terms that it employs. As soon as a processor hears a business say, what's your rate, they're happy. They know they kind of know they have you. So when you're thinking about credit card processing costs and the overall expense, the real key is to think about it in components of cost. What's going to the issuing banks, what's going to the card brands, and then what's going to a credit card processor as a markup. And this is all stuff that we explain right in the quotes businesses receive. We show them what's negotiable, what's not, where to attack the charges, and so forth.
Yeah, so you kind of basically digging into that fine print that people normally would they're overlooking because it's probably too confusing or too overwhelming to understand a lot of these things.
Yeah, we try and make a really, quite honestly, a really boring, painful topic, not so tough to deal with.
Yeah.
I know that credit card processing isn't something that people necessarily want to deal with. It's just one of those necessary evils in business. So we try and make it as painless as possible. I guess the irony in the whole thing is that credit card processing really isn't that complicated when it's explained matter of fact without all the sales jargon, without all the nonsense. It just comes down to there's 3 components of cost. 2 of them you can't control, 1 you can. Get the right kind of pricing model, get a fixed markup, and you'll be good. And that's something that we've really streamlined for businesses through Cardfellow's marketplace.
Cool. Now I know. Do you still want to do? I know we talked about doing a screen share. Anyone that might be watching on YouTube, or they wanted to kind of see how the whole process works and what kind of information you get for signing up. Do you want to kind of walk people through?
Yeah, we could do that. Let me do this. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. And what do you think? You want to go through and just kind of sign up? So.
Yeah, it's either up to you. I know, obviously for me, the sign-up process is pretty straightforward, as with most services. You're filling in your business information, but I think people would probably want to see, mostly the quotes and things like what are you really getting when you sign up for your service.
Sure. If you give me just a second here, John, I will go ahead and I'll go pull up the quotes for somebody that has just recently signed up, and what we'll do is we'll go ahead and log in as that person. Obviously, we won't show their info, but we'll be able to see the quotes they receive. So give me just a second here.
Yeah. So for those of you listening on the podcast, this portion of the show, if you want to check this out, you can go back and look on YouTube, and I'll have the video posted. If you want to watch this and actually see kind of what you'd be getting if you decide to sign up. Maybe you're a business owner and this has been something that you've had to deal with, or you already have set up, and maybe you'd like to lower your costs. This would be an interesting way to do it.
All right, I'm almost in here. Whoops, that business already selected an offer just as I was going back in.
Yeah, you could use mine if you wanted. I don't mind. I know because I put in my, information. I don't know how much it shows of.
Yeah, we won't. We won't show any info here. Give me just a second. And okay, let's use this one right here. Just one more second here, John, and we'll be up. We just got to log out and log back in.
All
right, cool. So let me go ahead and so what I did is I just logged in as a business that just in the past couple minutes has signed up through Cardfellow here, and I'll go ahead and share my screen so you can get first-hand idea of what you see. All right, can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So the sign-up process for Cardfellow is quick and easy. Like I said, the service is free, so you never pay anything. You'll never be asked for payment info. When you sign up, it's a series of just 3 quick forms. So you'll enter your email and a password so that you can always log back in to see your quotes. You'll enter some general business information, just business processing volume, average ticket, how you accept cards, and that sort of thing. And then on the final sign-up form, you'll just select how you're going to process cards. So what kind of equipment you're using, or if you're using a gateway, and so forth. And once you're done signing up, our service or our software will think for really about 4 or 5 seconds, and then it comes back with what you see right here. If I scroll down real quick, you'll see that the first quote here is from TSYS. It's a direct processor. And what's important is you can see as we highlight right here. So this quote would be interchange, which is essentially credit card processing wholesale or cost for processors, plus a fixed markup of 0.06% with a 6-cent transaction fee. And what our software does is it calculates all of the metrics you would need to know to make an accurate or an informed choice about which offer or which solution is best. And if I go down the page, you'll see there's more quotes from other processors. These are all extremely competitive offers. It's just that Cardfellow's marketplace makes so much competition that it really drives prices down. So I'll focus on the offer from TSYS here for a quick second. But before I do, I also want to note that you can see right here that this company has 3 new messages. Cardfellow service is completely private. We do not share email, contact, phone number. None of our clients or visitors have to worry about getting bombarded with sales calls or emails. We don't show processors that info. If a processor wants to communicate with a business, they simply post a message, which is in the message board right here. I don't want to open it up because I don't want to invade anybody's privacy, but the message board would pop up if I clicked on this, and then this business and the processor can communicate. Another service we also offer for free is a free analysis for any one of our visitors. So if you sign up at Cardfellow, if you're already processing, you don't feel like dealing with the comparison yourself, or if you want help doing it, simply click on this button. You'll be able to upload or fax, whoops, wrong button here, let me get back there. Upload or fax a copy of your existing statement right here, and we'll do an in-depth comparative analysis for you. We'll show you exactly what you're paying through your current processor versus what you could be paying if you chose an offer through Cardfellow, any one of these offers. You can view a sample statement from any of these companies. So if you were to choose them, you could see what your charges would look like. We have certified reviews for each processor. What the certified review means is we do not allow a business to post a review for a processor until that business has signed up at Cardfellow, chosen a processor's offer, and the processor has confirmed with Cardfellow that business is actually using its service. Once we know that business is qualified to place a review, we allow them to go ahead and post a review, and they can actually update it over time. So If a processor starts off really well and then kind of tapers off, that business can update the review to reflect that. And what I'm going to do is I'll go into the quote details here. So every quote that comes through Cardfellow is fully disclosed with the processor's rates and fees. Anything that a processor could charge is outlined, and if you mouse over it, we tell you exactly what the fee is, when it would apply. So you know exactly what you're getting, no surprises. Again, going back to the pricing model, this processor's rate is 0.06% over cost, so interchange plus. If that doesn't mean anything to anybody listening right now, definitely go check it out on our blog. Pricing models are very important. You want to make sure you're getting the right pricing model. And then finally, if we scroll down, our software gives you an estimate of where your money would go. How much of your money is going to the card issuing bank, how much is going to the card brands, debit networks, and then ultimately to the processor. So total estimated costs are laid out for you, effective rate, and then even in more detail we break it down by interchange, assessments to card brands, and then the processor's markup. All right, so really to give you an idea, this business said they were going to be processing $38,000 a month. This processor's gross markup on that volume would be $56.34. It's absolutely outstanding. That's as low as credit card processing costs are going to get. You see anything here that I missed, John?
No, I think you did a pretty good overview. I mean, you really kind of dig in. I like just, because obviously a lot of this is normally, I'm assuming if you were to go directly to the processor and try to figure a lot of this information out, it's probably going to be pretty scattered, and it's not going to be easy to compare these kinds of things between each processor.
Yeah, and if we're guilty of anything, we're guilty of providing too much information. With every quote you have, I mean, you'll notice if you mouse over stuff, there's explanations of what things are. Like right here, this effective rate. If you're not sure what an effective rate is, just click on the explain this, and you can even go right through to our blog that'll give you more and more information. So we really want to make it possible for our clients to immerse themselves in accurate information as much as they want. So we put it right there at their fingertips. I think I got it all. Let me see. Even down here in the processor's markup, again, you can mouse over all of this stuff, and it tells you exactly what's what charges are, and when they would apply. And we'll go back to where all the quotes are listed. And that interface or that detail page looks the same for all processors. It would just outline, it would just be updated with the specific processor's pricing and their quotes. And once a business does want to move forward, this company would be crazy not to choose this offer. But once a company does want to move forward, all you do is click on the button that says Choose Quote. I don't want to do that right now because I'm not the business. But if you click on Choose Quote, our software gets rid of all the quotes that the business didn't choose and locks in the pricing of the one that it did. And part of Cardfellow's service is every 6 months we actually audit our client statements to ensure that pricing never increases, that what's called interchange is optimized or base cost is optimized. And those audits get posted right to the business's Cardfellow account for historical reference. So pricing is guaranteed never to increase. Costs are guaranteed to stay as low as possible indefinitely.
Right, and that's all based through that contract that you were able to set up with each processor.
Exactly. One of the stipulations of our legal agreement with processors is there's no bait and switch. They can't offer a very low rate and then jack up that rate 2 or 3 months later. Any pricing is locked for the life of an account, and the life of an account is from when it's open till it's closed.
Cool. Yeah, that's obviously great for business owners because I know that's a very common thing with just about any service you could buy. I know like even my internet cable is probably going to go up in a few months because of that kind of business model they decide to pull on people, you know?
Yeah, it's funny how they do that, right? They get you in the door, and then when you stop looking or you turn around, up goes your price.
Yeah, thankfully right now I'm only paying $20 a month for internet.
uh, all right, there we go. So I should be back with you.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, you know, I think this has been great information. I know we've covered a lot. I figured we could wrap things up. I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to share about your business or anything else you wanted to provide for people that are listening.
Um, yeah, if you're listening and your business does accept credit cards, does process cards, we're very aware that it's one of those necessary evils of business, and it's not fun to deal with. But Cardfellow really does make it easy. You have no risk to go ahead and try our service. If you sign up, you get your quotes. If you want to send us statements for analysis, we'll do the rest for you. We'll give you more of an education on processing. We'll make it quick and painless. And 99% of the businesses that use Cardfellow do lower their processing fees. And believe it or not, the average is about 40% on gross.
Wow.
So it's really a significant number that you can reduce your processing fees. So definitely give us a try. You've got nothing to lose and a lot to gain. So.
Yeah, I'll definitely put a link in the show notes and people can check out your blog and check out your website if if they happen to be running a business. This would definitely be something I'd be interested in looking at if it's going to mean saving money. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Ben, and I appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks a lot, John. Appreciate you having me.
Yep. Talk to you later.